Hello again. How was the food? Wasn't it wonderful? Yes. Amazing. Let's give a big hand out to all the people that make this evening possible. Meeting of the Minds Committee. It's just wonderful. My name is Lisa. I'm your host tonight. Welcome. And this is a Meeting of the Minds series. Meeting of the Minds and Hearts. We have to make that very clear. Can you all hear me back there? Yes? Okay. There's always one in every crowd. Okay. And a special welcome to our guests. Do we have any guests here tonight? You can raise your hand. Don't be shy. We won't do anything embarrassing to you. Well, an especially warm welcome to you this evening. We're going to start with a chant, a little prayer, and then we're going to begin the program, the introductions. Oh God, refresh and gladden my spirit, purify my heart, illumine my powers. I lay all my affairs in thy hand. Thou art my guide and my refuge. I will no longer be sorrowful and grieved. I will be a happy and joyful being. Oh God, I will no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I will not dwell on the unpleasant things of life. Oh God, thou art more friend to me than I am to myself. I dedicate myself to thee, O Lord. Okay, now we're going to pick it up a little bit. That was it. That was the entire somber moment of the entire evening. First, a couple of housekeeping things. Would you, friends, please turn off or on silent your cell phones? It'd be great if we can get through a whole night without a cell phone going on. Wouldn't that be great? Let's see if we can do that. Let's put that out there. Also, if you have children, young children, please, if you would have them near you. Yes, put them on silent, please. Bob said. Because we do have a lot of construction outside, so we just want to make sure that we keep everyone under an eye. My name is Lisa. Did I mention that? Yeah. Okay, just want to make sure you're paying attention, because I may change it and then it'll ask questions. Okay, I just want to say this, that how delighted we are to have Bob and Barbara Harris here this evening. I have known Bob, or actually he has known me my entire life. And we all hail from New Jersey. All hail New Jersey. Anybody else here from New Jersey? We have some New Jersey folks here. There we go. Yeah. Well, I have a couple of fond memories from my youth. I remember sleepovers as a youth at their home. And I just want to say, you know, for the record, that vase that was broken, I was exonerated of any wrongdoing that weekend. That was not me. I had an airtight alibi. Also, I remember this one occasion at unit convention where I was sitting there, and you know, as many youth, kind of invisible, kind of want to be invisible, not really sure what we're doing with ourselves. And we're sitting, there's some talk going on, and I'm wearing some outfit with, I can't even remember what it was, but I remember it was knickers and Argyle socks. It was something very strange, but I thought I was just the bomb. And there's this talk going on. All of a sudden, Bob's just starts looking over at me, and he's like, what's with the socks? He goes, and he just kept teasing me about my socks. And I'm thinking, am I going to get in trouble if I respond to this? Because there's someone talking, we have to be quiet and everything. And it was just kind of letting it go and just kept going, what's with the socks? And you know, you would think how many years ago that was. We don't have to go into numbers, but it was a very long time ago. And I have to tell you what a fond memory that was, because you know, it was funny and you know, paid little attention to just some kid in the room, and I remember it to this day. It was just a really great memory, so I thank you for that.
You're dressing much better.
Yeah. I was looking for the socks, but I couldn't find them. So let me tell you a little bit about Bob. Bob has, he's traveled to 20 countries, probably more by now, meeting with youth, leaders of thought, heads of state, government officials, the media, all on behalf of the Baha'i Faith. He is a member of the Northeastern Regional Baha'i Council. And we're just so delighted to have him here, because I know this is going to be a very engaging and insightful evening. And you know, normally in our, on these talks, there's usually, you know, just some just lecture time or talking time, and then we do question and answer period. But Bob wishes this to be a little bit more interactive. So I'm going to be doing the Phil Donahue thing, running around the room, as need be, giving you the wireless microphone. So let me see, do I have anything else that I want to say? I think that's it. Let's give a very warm welcome to our dear friend, Bob Harris.
Thank you, Lisa. Hey, Lisa. Hi. Lisa, what's with the hair? You've cleaned up the sock act, and
Can I,
is this ringing like crazy?
Yeah. No, it's
Okay, well, I'll just shut up until you get this thing to stop ringing.
Is this over there?
How many people are from New York? How many people are glad to be out of New York? Is that good? You know, when you go from New York to New Jersey, there's the Palisades. These are the giant cliffs. And what they've done is they've taken these beautiful Palisades and they have made bridges out of them. And so when you're getting on the George Washington Bridge, or you're getting in the, crossing the Hudson River, these Palisades are amazing. Huge, sheer cliffs. And people have written graffiti on the sides of these cliffs. And so that when you go from New York to New Jersey, you get to read what people are thinking about. You know, Fred loves Bob. They just put it on there. It's real big. It's very, very wonderful. And you must repent. You know, those kinds of things. And on one of the Palisades they wrote, "You must pay for your sins." And then underneath somebody wrote in a different color, "If you have already paid, please disregard this notice." Only in New Jersey. I never thought that in my lifetime that I would be in the same room with two people who brought me so close to God. The two people did this by the way they drive their cars. And they are both here. And I would like them to stand up. Cambiz, please. Gilbert. Yay! Gilbert. When you drive with these people, you can see the face of God. Now, in what city did you learn how to drive? New York. Camby's, in what city did you learn how to drive? Tehran. I think Gilbert learned how to drive in Tehran too, but he's not admitting it. I'll tell you, Baha'is, for those of you who are not Baha'is and you're learning about the Baha'i faith, Baha'is, we try to pray a lot. We try to be in a state of prayer and closeness to the Creator. And you are allowed to make up your prayers. You're allowed to make them up. It's great. And sometimes, in an emergency, you will make up the most sincere prayer. And it was with Camby's. There was a truck. And the prayer was very sincere. It was, "Oh God, please move this truck." And the truck moved, and we were commenting about the truck, and I said, "If something falls off that truck and hits us, we're going to be dead." And he said, "It probably would only hit your side." This is how selfless the Baha'i people are. I just want you to know that. Really, but to have these two men in the same room is a miracle to me. First of all, it's a miracle that I'm alive. And secondly, it's a miracle that you haven't hit each other in Clearwater. That is, it's wonderful. My wife is here. Barbara Harris is my first wife. Barbara, would you just wave?
Hey.
I met Barbara when she was 16 years old. One of her very, very good friends had investigated the Baha'i faith and became a Baha'i. And he changed radically. And because he changed so much, and he was really a very different person, that all of his friends came to investigate the Baha'i faith because they were afraid that he had been brainwashed or love-bombed, or that we had taken his brain captive and taken it to some Baha'i place, and that this was some strange cult. And I was sitting on the floor of this house because in those days, this is in the 1960s, we hardly would ever sit on a chair, even if there was a chair there. We always wanted to sit on the floor. And as this girl walked in, I took one look at her and I knew that I was going to marry her. And she was 16 years old when I met her. I have known her for so long, I took her for her driver's test. And she is a better driver than Camby's and Gilbert put together, with her eyes closed, thinking about shopping. She is just much better driver. And 3 years almost to the day that we met each other, we got married. And she was 19, and that was a mistake, to marry somebody at 19. I should have married her when she was 16. And we have been married for a long, long time. How long is that? 35 years. And she's... We just signed an option for another 35, and we'll see how we do with that. Although, you know, if you're married 35 years, you have moments that are not so wonderful. For instance, things out of your control happen. Across the street, we had a young couple buy a house, directly across the street from our driveway. And this young couple was just, I mean, Barbara and I had been married about 20 years, and this young couple moved in and ruined everything. Because every day she would walk him out the door and open the door for him and give him his lunch and give him his briefcase. And he would roll down the window. In the rain, he would roll down the window and she would give him a kiss. In the snow, he would roll down the window. They would hug and hugging. It was terrible. Then the worst part is that every day he would come home and he would have a gift for her. Sometimes it was flowers. And Barbara would say, "Did you see the flowers across the street?" And sometimes he would have a big box wrapped with something. And she would come and he would give her the box and she would hug him and then they would run in the house. And then sometimes he would have little teeny weeny boxes and she really got excited about the little teeny weeny boxes. I don't know where they came from. But they would just run in the house and kiss. And she would always meet him at the car, give him a big hug, give him a big kiss, and then they would go in the house together. And so one day, after about a year of this nausea, Barbara finally says, Bob, do you see what they do? Yes. Do you see how, he kisses her and he brings her gifts? And I said, yeah, I see. She said, why can't you do that? I said, Barbara, I hardly know that woman. And you think I'm kidding. This is not easy, this marriage thing. How many people are not married? How many people are not married because a lawyer said you're no longer married? Okay. Yeah, the people with the biggest smiles. When you marry the right person, it's really wonderful. How many people loved this food tonight? Was that? There are very few things that you can do for another person that is as good as cooking something wonderful for them. It's really wonderful. Up in New Jersey, where the meeting of the minds was born, there's a lady, Puran Dean. Puran, why don't you raise your hand? In fact, Puran, yeah, please. Puran is really the second best cook I know. My mother taught her everything she knows about cooking. But you should see her really cut beef. She can really cut and do this stuff. And my mother, who spent years in the restaurant business, she said, that Puran really can cut. And I said, do you know what she did before she became a professional Baha'i? She was a veterinarian. And she really, she could take cows apart and put them back together. And now she just takes them apart. Puran, however, moved to Florida. She left New Jersey. And my mother says to me, if you see Puran, tell her I want my meat slicer back. That she left the state of New Jersey with my mother's really good meat slicer. And she said, I never thought that Puran would steal something. And then my wife said, Kitty, my mother's name, you stole that meat slicer from me. So Puran, if you would not mind just giving Barbara back her meat slicer, we'll cut my mother out of the whole thing. Okay, the food. You know, Jeremiah's making a video of this. This drives him crazy. I just want you to know how to make a video guy happy. The food was especially enjoyed by the Baha'is, and you can ask your Baha'i friends about this, because tonight it's kind of like the Last Supper. Tonight is the last night that we can all eat while the sun is up, because tomorrow is the first day of the Baha'i fast. This is 19 days where the Baha'is, from the time the sun comes up till the time the sun goes down, if you're over 15 and if you're under 70, and if you don't have about 100 things wrong with you that you can, excuse yourself from the fast, that we don't eat or drink anything during the daylight hours for 19 days. At the end of the 19th day, guess what it is? It's the first day of spring. And we get to celebrate spring, and we eat all day long. It's fantastic. We just start eating and we don't stop until we pass out. We wake up usually around the middle of April. The Baha'i calendar, in fact, I don't know how much you know about the Baha'i faith, but this is a religion that commands its followers to have 19 parties a year. It's true. And each one of the parties has a name. It's a wonderful name because there are 19 months in the Baha'i calendar. And each month, we are told that we must get together, have prayers, talk about the business of our community, and have a wonderful dinner feast. It's called the 19-day feast. It's fantastic. I never heard of another religion that has such a great thing where you are commanded to have at least 19 parties a year. It's wonderful, so that we can be together. We can learn about each other. We can develop unity. We can have friendly relations with each other. It's fantastic. And so the Baha'i calendar is a very interesting thing centered around food. Food is the Baha'i vice. Food is where Baha'is get all of their evil out other than driving. So this is it. This is the Last Supper. Tomorrow when we wake up, you've heard the saying, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you diet. Eat, drink, and be merry, because tomorrow there are going to be a lot of growling stomachs among the Baha'is. And there are spiritual people who really look at the fast as a spiritual thing. And then there are materialistic Baha'is who are really basically terrible people who will look at it like, they look at their watch and they say, oh my God, and they look at the sun and they say, the sun is set, right? The sun is not. The sun is not set yet. Just relax. It's amazing. Baha'is who don't wear watches all year long, they put on the watch tomorrow, believe me, because they want to know what time that sun is down. How many people enjoy the fast? How many people try to enjoy the fast? How many people feel as though they learn spiritual lessons during the fast? That's good. It's wonderful, isn't it? Well, I have a song to sing. I don't sing very often, but I'm going to sing a song for you about the fast. Let me get this right. Yesterday, lunch was such an easy thing to say. Now I'd love a glass of Perrier. Oh, my last lunch was yesterday. Suddenly, days seem longer than they used to be. Now I'm longing for some Sara Lee. The fast came up so suddenly. I can't eat or drink while the sun is in the sky. Till then I'm dreaming of Big Macs and pizza pie. Yesterday, lunch was such an easy thing to say. Now my lunches seem so far away. Oh, my last lunch was yesterday. My last lunch was yesterday. Now you know why I don't sing. I used to sing for a living. I went broke. It was terrible. God, I love Clearwater. This is great. This is a great town to be in. I figure if you get really hungry, you can go to the beach, right? Watch seagulls, watch those funny birds. There are birds like I've never seen before in my life. They are strange birds. Sometimes it's like God's playing a joke on the birds. By the way, the music was written for me tonight by Lennon and McCartney, a couple of guys from England, and the words were by Steve Thompson of the Northeast Amigos, a wonderful, wonderful group from the Northeast, which is a wonderful, wonderful part of the country. Did you guys all come here to learn something? Okay, what I'd like to do is get a bigger podium so that I can put my cards on here and not keep dropping them. That's number one. If we could get a little bigger table, that'd be great. Or a smaller computer. But I'm begging for computers, so I'll be happy to take this one. You came here because we were going to talk about deep thoughts, right? Simple ideas. Baha'i faith can become very complex, but it's not a complex thing. It's a very simple thing. Why? Because it is about life. It is about people. It is about what they do in their life. And it is about humanity and humanity's journey. Humanity's journey toward the future. And so, Where's Lisa? Lisa, where did you go? Hi, Lisa. Okay. Lisa is going to be a very busy person. In fact, Lisa, why don't you come down this center aisle over here? Do it from the back. Because we're going to be doing some, a lot of people are going to be doing talking. Okay? And Barbara, I'm going to count on you to help me understand. Okay? I have 2 of the very best hearing aids that money can buy. They are fantastic. These are the best hearing aids you can buy. They're made by a company called Siemens. It's a great company. Well, I bought these hearing aids at no small expense. And I'm telling my brother, you know, these are the greatest hearing aids ever. They're the best. And he said, oh, what kind is it? And I said, about 1230. So they don't work. That's what I'm telling you. Okay? So, Barb, if I say anything wacky, please just stand up and say, Bob, you didn't hear her. Okay? Okay, Lisa, pay attention. Here we go. You can all see my PowerPoint. Here we go. You ready? Simple thoughts about deep subjects. Now, these subjects are deeper than we can imagine, and my thoughts about them are simpler than you could ever imagine. These are simple. How many people owned a television set in 1961? 3 of you. How many? Cambiz, you had a television set in 1961? What channel was it getting? The Shah was on that channel, I'm sure. Okay. In 1961, I was 11 years old. There was a TV show called Ben Casey. And this guy over here, Vince Edwards, played a young resident neurosurgeon. He was a neurosurgeon learning how to cut people's brains apart, save their lives, and every week he had a new impossible case. Every week, some new tragedy would befall someone, and who would save them? Ben Casey. And who was Ben Casey's mentor? This guy here. His name was Dr. Zorba. And Dr. Zorba would start each issue, each episode of Ben Casey, and he had a blackboard. And on the blackboard, he would draw the symbol for man, and he would go, man. And his hair was like this, only worse. His hair was wacky. Man. And then he'd draw the symbol for woman, and he'd go, woman. And then he'd draw a little star, like an asterisk, and he'd say, birth. And then he'd draw a cross, and he would say, death. And then he would draw the symbol for infinity, and he would say, infinity. I was 11 years old. I figured this is life. For a half hour, I'm getting philosophy. And I sat there with my eyes open and my mouth open, just bringing this stuff in, because for the first time in my life, I thought that there was something more meaningful than the Mickey Mouse Club, something more meaningful than Ed Sullivan, something more meaningful than Beat the Clock, and these are all TV shows that hardly any of you have ever heard of. That's how old I am. If anybody heard of any of those TV shows, would you please raise your hand? Okay, that's heartening, but I think most of you are lying. You're just trying to make me feel good. I am old. I am older than dirt. I was around here before the earth cooled. I am old and getting older faster. But this was the way people in my generation learned about important things about life. We learned about it from Ben Casey. We learned about it from Dr. Zorba. Ben Casey messed up every night. He messed up. Dr. Zorba would come, put his hand on his shoulder, and he would say, Ben Casey, Ben Casey. Like, what am I going to do with you, Ben Casey? And then Ben Casey would get a sudden thing. He would go save this lady's life. He fell in love in the last season of this TV show with a woman who had been in a coma for 13 years. It was pretty lame. And it was in black and white. The whole thing was in black and white. Do you remember this, Roger?
I do.
Right. Let's hear it for Roger for being old enough to... Have I said anything that's untrue?
Not yet.
Not yet. Roger knows that the evening is young. Okay. important things, deep subjects. Man, woman, birth, death, infinity. Man. Get ready to work, Lisa. Man, it's a human being, humanity, people, mankind. This is what man means. It doesn't mean a male necessarily. It means Homo sapien. It means these people who stood up in the forest and had opposable thumbs and started to have things like recess and school and lunch. Credit cards, that's how you know a human being. That's how you discern them from the lower forms of animal life. We're humans. We figured out how to come to a place like Clearwater and make it cool in the summer. We went to New York and made it warm in the winter. We took a fearless person like Bob Harris, put him in a car, made him scared to death. That's civilization. So I'd like to ask you folks, and remember, we're trying to teach people some Baha'i principles about these deep subjects. Where did humans come from? Stand up, Lisa. Somebody's going to tell us. Where do humans come from? Ta-da, ta-da. Wow, what a brilliant crew we have here tonight. Guys, do I have to do all the work? Somebody. Where do humans come from?
Okay.
Yes, okay. A brave soul. Oh, wait, who's this going to?
They're laughing at me already.
East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Thank you very much. When someone says, where in New Jersey are you from? I say, exit 7A. Human beings, where did they come from? How did they get here?
You mean the origin?
Yeah, how about that? Let's do the origin.
I mean, well, I learned in anthropology that we came from the sea.
From the sea. Very good. Excellent. Okay, Lisa, take that microphone onto the smart side of the room. No, I understand. Look, that is so silly. I can't even swim, okay? What do you mean we came from the sea? Oh, if it was not deep water, maybe I could have come from there. Okay. Okay, let me give you a clue. Okay, please, we have a hand over here, Lisa. This lady's going to tell us,
Okay,
where did humans come from?
There are all sorts of ideology about it, but let's go to hidden words. It says, I love thee. Eu te amei, por isso te criei. I love thee, therefore I created thee.
In the Baha'i faith, it says in the hidden words, I loved thy creation, hence I created thee. That Baha'is believe that human beings and everything else that you can see, think, imagine, dream of, came from the Creator, who we know affectionately as God. This is the Creator. I'm sorry? Yeah. And you know what? First of all, I am sure that God can swim. So if he wanted to make us in the sea, that would be perfectly okay with... Your daughter... You see that? Here's how humanity comes full circle. Her daughter just dumped some water on her. That's excellent. That's probably where baptism came from. How do human beings differ from animals? Friends, this is very basic stuff. How do human beings differ from animals? Lisa, look around for a smart person and give them the microphone. What is the difference between a human being and an animal? Oh, we have... Yeah, okay. Very good. I'm going to trust you because you're from Canada.
Thank you.
Okay.
A?
A? You know how you spell Canada?
Yes.
C-A-N-A-D-A. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make fun of you because you're from Canada. I don't. Actually, I do mean to make fun of you because you're from Canada. Why are they different from animals?
Because we human beings recognize God. Or
Human beings recognize God. Good question. How do we do that?
our intellect,
Intellect, good. What else?
human spirit.
human spirit. Because, and again, this is a simple thought about a deep subject. You're not going to find this anywhere in the Baha'i writings in these exact terms. But God made all of creation with his qualities, with the qualities of God. And so you have a rock that has some of the qualities of God. You have birds that have other qualities. You have clouds, you have water, you have earth, wind, and fire. You have all of these things. But in the Baha'i writings, Baha'is believe that God has put all of his qualities into human beings. And that a chunk of God, this is the part you won't read, a chunk of God is within every human being. And that it is potential within a human being to reflect the qualities of God if that human being exercises their free will in order to recognize the connection with their Creator. It's kind of like we have a soul, and the soul is a mirror, and the mirror can only reflect the light of God. And that is the connection that we have as the supreme creation of God, spiritual connection, the spiritual capacity to recognize God. I love that. Human beings, how do they organize? How do they organize themselves? What do they do? I mean, for instance, I got to tell you, if it's deer season in New Jersey, and there's a guy out there shooting deer, you know where all the other deer go? They try to go to New York. Okay? They want to get out of the way of people shooting people. And one of the things I taught my kids was a great lesson. They would always get afraid of sirens. And I said, why are you afraid of sirens? Oh, something bad is happening. Now, sirens are a sign, like, police cars and fire trucks and ambulances. This is a sign that somebody is helping someone else. This is distinctly human, that only humans will go and go into a place where people are shooting or blowing things up and help other people. That is distinctly human. And we build systems to help people. We build systems to clothe people, to house people, to feed people, to move people, to help people set up families. And that is called, the way we organize is called civilization. We work together to build a civilization. And the civilization helps other human beings and helps every part of the creation. Now here's the question, where is humanity? Man. Remember Dr. Zorba? Ben Casey, man. Deep subject. Where is humanity going? Would somebody please articulate what the Baha'is believe is the destiny of the human race? Where do you think we're going? Please, give me a simple thought on this deep subject. Isn't anyone going to help me? This is unbelievable. Roger, stand up, Roger. Stand up and speak loudly.
Baha'u'llah says that we're moving toward an ever-advancing civilization.
That was pretty deficient.
Sorry, best I could come up with.
Is it going to be an ever-advancing civilization that will be peaceful?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Will it be just? Will it have justice?
As the basis.
Very good. Will there be love and harmony?
Absolutely.
Very good. Will there be separation and prejudice?
A little bit.
A little bit, but hopefully not enough to matter. Okay, Lisa, where are you? This gentleman has his hand up.
We are told also from Jesus that tells us from Lord's Prayer. This is where the initiation of understanding has been invested into human mind.
Very good.
Whereby he says it will be on earth as it is in heaven.
Sure.
There's a lot of keys in mysteries that are in that particular Lord's Prayer that can be demystified in the ways of things to come. That in this day and age, we pretty much are told what would be prescribed.
That prayer, as a young child, that prayer confused me, because it was during that prayer that I figured out that the name of God was Harold. Harold. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And I'm saying, why would his name be Harold? But in that prayer, Jesus says, He promises, thy kingdom come, God, your kingdom is going to come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That is the great promise of Christianity. And guess what? This great promise is in every religion. And this great promise is what the Baha'is believe is coming into reality today with the teachings of Baha'u'llah. Okay, deep subjects. Remember them? Man, woman, birth, death, infinity. I got to hurry up because the TV show will be over. Woman, female human, humanity, people. This is the female side. How have female humans gotten along with male humans?
Badly.
Now, there's a lot of evidence that there has been a lot of getting along together. Just look around. No matter what else happens, there's a lot of people in this earth. And a lot of people are here because of this male, female, man, woman thing. That's, okay? Is that pretty good? But how have female humans generally, in the terms of civilization, gotten along with male humans? Somebody must know this. Huh? Yeah.
Come
Oh, Lisa.
on.
Lisa June. Right over here. Here we go. This is great wisdom we're going to get.
Well,
Well-
unless it was a society that allowed women to be like the more matriarchal of the society, such as a lot of the Native American cultures.
Yes.
Women,
So there
If
have
you-
been examples of societies that were really run by women.
yes.
Okay.
But then you also had we'll say Rome and the first popes and all that. You had, let's see what they would be well, it would have been the.
Patriarchal. Patriarchal
well-
as opposed to matriarchal.
Well,
It's all that
but,
Latin.
but even some of the civilization in, I guess you would call it Europe and that before the church came to be. I don't-
Are you saying that
I'm
that was
trying
matriarchal or
to- Those
patriarchal?
were, well, a lot of those were they revered women. You had what they called the goddess and maybe what was understood as what they called
How many people are in favor of
witchcraft
goddesses?
or things like that.
We love goddesses.
Which were revered women. Were they like the pagans, or they called them before that? So you had some of the appreciation of women and nature and that type of thing.
But since the year 2000
And then
BC,
when you
how have we
had,
done?
I think after the Catholic Church came to be, it subjugated women to below men.
Uh-huh.
And historically, unless you had countries such as you had Queen Elizabeth, who rose and stayed in power and did great things, but you had a lot of, very few women in that role of leadership of the world.
I didn't know we were going all the way back that far.
Well,
but
even today,
Even
like,
today.
because in the 70s, you know, for those of you who don't know, the Equal Rights Amendment was never ratified. So women really don't have rights even today in this country, even though it's assumed we do. So,
And
So
this is
when-
only one of about 180 countries where women are really not treated legally in
Correct.
many of the same respects that men are. But, and so typically, there has been a terrific conflict between rights, and especially rights that people can exercise, between men and women.
Correct.
For instance, in 1920, if you were a woman and you lived in America, you could not vote. It's really quite recent that men and women have had some equitable legal rights.
but women are also finding with our society kind of falling apart now, that violence is even more prevalent.
Yeah.
So because of the violence toward women, it's a sign of the civilization decaying, and it kind of tells us women where we really are on that scale of value.
Okay. Lisa, find someone who will answer this question. What does Baha'u'llah say about men and women?
Raise your hand so I can see you.
Okay, I'd like to have a man answer this,
Is your hand up?
just to make sure that we all understand this. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. If you could stand up, because I can you hear me back there? Yes. Can you see me? Okay, I can't see back there.
Based on Baha'u'llah writings, man and a woman, they were created from day one equal, and Baha'u'llah promoted it.
Very good. Absolutely equal. In fact, for those of you who have not read any of the Baha'i writings about this subject, Baha'i writing says that humanity, all of humanity is like a bird, and one wing is male and one wing is female, and unless both of the wings are equally strong, this humanity is not going to get off the ground. And if we look at the violence, and if we look at the exploitation, and we look at the subjugation, and we look at the disunity, and we look at the injustice, we realize that humanity really has to get it together in this most basic, fundamental part of civilization and the relations between human beings. And believe me, this is a very, very important part of what the Baha'i Faith is about. We believe that the future is very bright, and we believe that in every part of human affairs, men and women who not only are equal, but that they will begin to act in that way. That's very good. So we did men and women. Now let's do birth. Aww. Birth, nativity, beginning of life, the prolongation of the human race. This is the evidence that men and women aren't at war all the time. Why are babies so cute? Does anybody know why babies are so cute? These are the babies that came from the sea. Where's the anthropologist who told me? Babies are so cute so that they can trick a human being into taking care of them. They can trick a human being into doing diapers and feed, and you know, baby is very, very irresponsible at both ends. And it's not easy being a parent or even seeing a baby. And it certainly doesn't always smell wonderful. Okay? So that's why God makes them cute, so that we will take care of them. How many people think that they were a cute baby? Raise your hand. Come on. How many people think that it was kind of highly unlikely that you were a cute baby? Okay. For instance, I was an unwanted child. From the moment I was born, really, my parents began to fight. My toys that we had to play with, my bath toys for playing in the bath, was a hairdryer and a toaster. It should have tipped me off right away that they didn't want me around. Babies are little people who grow up to be big people. Here is a simple thought about a deep subject. What do they need as they are growing up? What do children need? Raise your hand, let Lisa give you a microphone. Yes, Lisa, right in front of you. This man looks very arid.
Love.
Love, very good. Who gives them love?
Education.
Education? Education is really a reflection of love. I've got my last kid in college right now, and I said, you are going to finish college. Boom, because I love you. Boom, you are finishing college. If I take the air out of your tires, you're going to finish college. Okay. We have to love them. We have to educate them. How else do we help them?
Say again?
Nourish them. Nourish them.
We nurse them. Not me personally, but I've applauded when that's happened. What did you say? Nourish? Oh, I thought you said nurse. See, there's bad hearing aids. You see how this get you in trouble? Thank you, Barb. You were supposed to help me. Yeah, thank you. That's great. Children learn many, many things. How? They watch you. Therefore, it doesn't really matter so much what you say. What really matters is what you do. Barbara said the other day, we were talking about our kids growing up. We have, before we had children, we had 3 children. Before we had children, we had 3 theories on how to raise children. We ended up with 3 children, and now we have no theories. We are out of it because nothing seems to work consistently for all 3. If you have 1 and it works, that's a miracle. If you have 2 and half of it works, it's a miracle. Children, according to Islam, are one of the great tests. It is a test. And these tests are given to us to see, basically, how the future will be. Because the way we educate children is, first of all, how they're going to treat us. When my mother comes to our house, no matter what our kids are doing, they stand up, they come to the door, they greet her, they hug her, they kiss her, they welcome her. If they have friends with them, they introduce the friends to her. They treat her like she is gold. Same thing with Barbara's mother. They stop what they're doing and they absolutely pay attention to their grandmothers. When the grandmothers are going to leave, they stand up no matter what they're doing. They take them, they walk them to the car, they kiss the windows, they kiss them so much it's unbelievable. Why? Because that is how Barbara and I want to be treated. We're teaching them how to treat grandparents. Because by some act of nature, we may end up being grandparents someday. That's a men and women thing again. Ben Casey, men and women. Birth is very important, especially if you would like to be born and have a life. I feel like Dan Quayle. Who was that guy who said those great things? You know, your life is a terrible thing if you lose it, or something. He was just brilliant stuff. You ready? Death. Death. You can see these are simple thoughts here. It's the opposite of birth, the end of life. How's that? Pretty clear? 100% of humans ultimately expire. Those of you who are young, death is kind of a distant thunder. You know, you heard about it, but it does not relate to you. Each of us will do this. This is a symbol of the unity of the human race, that every one of us will cease to live. Every one. Physically. Thank you very much. What does it mean? What does this death thing mean? Deep subject. Let's have a simple thought. Who's got one? Anybody have a simple thought? Ah, we have a simple thought about death. Right behind you, Lisa.
Where?
There you go. Would you stand up? Okay. Would you please, would everybody else please sit down lower so I could see her? Thank you. Get a little lower. It's very hard to see. Yes, ma'am. Death.
Death is an expiration date.
It's the expiration date?
Yeah, not like milk, but you know, that's just,
Very good. Do we know our expiration date?
no, only
No.
God does.
Aha. That's why it's important to always be ready.
I'm ready.
Are you?
I
Well, heck,
think.
let Gilbert give you a ride somewhere, then you're halfway there. And if that doesn't work, go with Kemby's. There's an old song by Tennessee Ernie Ford. It says, if the right one don't get you, then the left one will. Anybody remember that song? Roger. Roger's the only guy here remember. Look, those of you who are old enough to remember this stuff, you were in Iran when all this stuff was going on here. You know, this is really amazing how many old people come to Florida who don't know anything at all about the 1960s. It's incredible. How can we get ready to die? I'd like to hear somebody who has one thing that they're doing to help them get ready to die. It's kind of a joyful after-dinner conversation, isn't it?
Let's get something in the back of the room.
Yeah, let's try the back of the room, because I have not been too impressed with the front of the room. Nothing personal. Yes.
Well, I wrote a will.
You wrote a will. Excellent. That's good. Very good. She wrote a will. Anybody doing anything else to get ready to die? Yeah? Okay, Roger.
Bring thyself to account each day, for
Oh.
death unheralded
Yes.
shall come upon thee. Hidden word.
Bring yourself to account each day, because the day will come. You know, the day will come when it's going to be the last day of your life. You might not know that it's going to be that day. I had a friend from my hospital. I'm a hospital administrator. And this guy was a volunteer in my office for a long time. And he was 87 years old. And he was a pool shark. And he would shoot pool with people. And he would let them win, and then he'd say, let's play for $5, and he'd let them win, and let's play for $20 and let them win. And then the guy would say, let's play for $200. And the guy would go to his car, and he would get his serious stick. And he would screw that stick together. And he had a lot of young guys' money in his pocket. And he's playing at the Senior Citizen Center. Okay, and I'm not kidding. and he had a pocket full of money, and he's holding onto the stick, and they're playing the last game, and he said, "Whoa, I'm feeling dizzy." And the guys who were playing with him said, "Whoa," and they run over to him, and he kind of falls right onto the pool table. And they lift him up, and they put him on the pool table. He passes out and dies. The ambulance guys come and say, "Why is he on the pool table?" He said, "Well, that's where he fell, and that's really where he died." What a way to go. Here you're hustling somebody for money, figuring out what you're going to spend that money for, and the next thing you know, you're dizzy, and the next thing you know, you're dead. There's a famous Irish song, and this is, I'm going to sing it for you, because you were patient when I sang about the fast. Irish people, for some reason, they would always end up in the same bed, mainly because they were drinking a lot of stuff that was disconnecting their brain from reality, and they would just pass out, and they really didn't sleep too much. They kind of passed out together. And then they would wake up. McGarity was dead, and McGinty didn't know it. McGinty was dead, and McGarity didn't know it. There they lay dead, in the very same bed, and neither one knew that the other was dead. I didn't say it was a classic Irish song. It's not like Danny Boy. It's McGarity McGinty. We're all going to die. Infinity. Remember now Dr. Zorba. Ben Casey. Man, woman, birth, death, infinity. Infinity means that it always was there. It always will be there. Infinity means without bounds. It means without any interruption. It's impossible to grasp infinity like it is impossible to grasp all of the stars or all of the grains of sand. What does this infinity mean? What infinity are we talking about? Birth, death, life, man, woman, children, people, humanity, civilization. Infinity. Who wants to talk about infinity? Very good. We're in the back of the room, everybody. Here comes wisdom.
Earth.
Earth?
Always been here, always will be here.
Really?
That's based on the writings.
Now there are scientists who
Baha'i
don't agree
writings.
with you.
Scientists, they can say whatever they want based on the
Really?
Baha'i writings.
Really? You think it was here forever?
Well, it's in writing.
Wow. That's very good. Does anybody have a scientific fact to talk about? Gilbert.
Hold on, pass this over, please.
Very good.
Infinity is atemporal.
Atemporal. What does that mean? Temporal.
Timeless.
Timeless. What is timeless? I'm sorry? Forever? But who, what is timeless? Barbara Ann.
I think if you're talking about in a Baha'i context, I would expect that infinity would refer to the covenant. That Baha'is believe that God has been here forever, has a relationship with man forever, and has a plan for humanity that has been since before humans existed and will go on, I suppose, beyond the extension of human beings.
That's why we've been married for 35 years. You understand? That is the kind of genius that I'm expecting out of you people from Florida. Obviously, I'm going to be disappointed. I don't have anything against Florida. It's just that New Jersey is so terrific. Barbara grew up in the same town as Albert Einstein lived in. Okay? E equals MC2. I never understood it. It's kind of like that Shakespeare thing. You ate too, Brutus? I'm not good at all these classical things. Infinity means that something has been set in motion, and that it has been set in motion by a primal force, and that this primal force is what Baha'is call God. That is what has started all of these things. The elements have been created in order to advance humanity, in order to advance the plan of God. The nature of God is that God is unknowable. Imagine this podium. the carpenter who made this podium. Now, this is for people who are just learning about the Baha'i faith. This is really simple stuff about really deep subjects. The carpenter, who is the creator of this podium, knows everything about it. Knows why it stands up, knows what it's made out of, knows how it was painted, knows how it was fastened, knows its purpose, designed it, created it. This podium doesn't know anything about the carpenter. Can't have any relationship with the carpenter. It is just like God and us. God is the creator, we are the creatures. I remember when I was a kid, watching on television. As you can tell, I was not raised by wolves in the woods. I was raised by television. Television is responsible for a lot of things. For instance, I know none of you remember a test pattern. Roger does. When I seem to be looking at nothing, I'm just imagining the test patterns that I saw and looked at for years. When I grew up, we would turn on television, and the television, after the news at 6 o'clock, it was a picture of a bowl of flowers. And that picture would be on all night, and that was the television. And guess what we would do? We'd watch it. We'd watch this bowl of flowers. Then at Christmas, guess what they showed you? They showed you a fireplace. And they had logs burning on a fireplace. And the exciting thing was when one of the stagehands would come over and put a new log on. That, my friends, was how I grew up. My mother thinks I would have done better with the wolves in the forest. But we learned about creatures from National Geographic specials, about these creatures that you looked at under a microscope, and my God, they looked like creatures from outer space, that they were going to come and eat you, and actually, they live in your throat. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that good to know about? For instance, we learned that if you take with Listerine, it kills 20,000 germs on contact. You remember that? Remember that? Why do you want 20,000 dead germs in your mouth? Why would you do that if you're thinking the right way? And yet, we went out and we did Listerine because we wanted to kill those germs. Now we find out the germs were there for a good reason. We've created all kinds of new diseases because of Listerine. Thank you, Listerine. By the way, the company that made Listerine, the guy lived in Princeton right by Einstein. Creatures were the things that crawled out of the earth. I never thought of myself as a creature until I went to a Baha'i meeting. And they said, you were created by God too, and that you can't know anything about your creator. And I said, that is ridiculous. I want to know about the creator. And the Baha'is said, you can't know about the creator because the creator is like the artist in the painting. The painting doesn't know anything about the artist. We can't know anything about our creator. And I was really aggravated about that. And I asked this question, how do we know about God? And what is the Baha'i answer for how we know about God? God, you can sit down, Lisa, because I've given up on this audience. I'm just going to do it. Okay? You had a chance to make this interactive. I've been sorely disappointed. From now on, it's going to be a straight lecture. It's going to be fast. Listen carefully, because what I'm telling you is true. Okay? God picks a mediator, a go-between. The mediator passes on God's messages. God says, Moses, say this. Moses goes and says it. Moses might not understand it, but Moses says it. Moses, carve out these tablets. We'll make it the 15 commandments. And then Moses dropped one of them. God said, okay, make it 10. These great teachers come, they start civilizations. They reveal what God allows them to tell humanity at a given time. Imagine that there is a curtain, and you are Moses or Jesus, and the curtain opens, and it says to Jesus, go give the Sermon on the Mount. Go talk about the Beatitudes. It says to Moses, give them the 10 Commandments. It says to Baha'u'llah, Baha'u'llah, tell them mankind is one. That is what the mediator does. They say what we cannot know without listening to the great teacher. That is the key, that God wants mankind to know and God picks a teacher. And in this day, the teacher, Baha'is believe, is Baha'u'llah, who is talking about the unity of men and women, the unity and the absolute harmony of science and religion, the need for world peace, the need for justice, the need for equality, the need to eliminate prejudice, the need to carry forward an ever-advancing civilization. We would not make that stuff up. We couldn't dream of it. We would dream up stuff like Ben Casey, Ben Casey. We would dream stuff up that didn't help humanity, that would help us. That's what we dream up. We dream up the things that help me. God dreams up the things and tells his mediator about the things that will help carry forward an ever-advancing civilization. That is the key. Revelation is what we have today that gives us all great hope. Here is revelation from Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah tells us something that we would have no way of knowing if he did not reveal it. In this day, a great festival is taking place in the realm above. For whatsoever was promised in the sacred scriptures hath been fulfilled. This is the day of great rejoicing. It behooveth everyone to hasten toward the court of his nearness with exceeding joy, gladness, exaltation, and delight. This is why Baha'is are happy. Baha'is are happy because of this great day, because whatsoever was promised in the sacred scriptures hath been fulfilled. Jesus promised, thy kingdom come. Isaiah promised that the swords would be beaten into plowshares. The promises of peace and unity and happiness are in every religious tradition, and what Baha'u'llah has come to say is today is the day. Now is the time when humanity must work together to create on earth the unity of the human race. Why? Because this is why God created you. In one of his writings, Baha'u'llah says, know ye not why we created you all from the same dust, so that one would not exalt himself above the other? You are all brothers and sisters, and we need to live that way. That is the message of the Baha'i faith. And whenever I'm in an elevator and somebody asks me about the Baha'i faith, or I'm waiting for a bus or a train or a plane, and somebody says, you know, I got to get on this plane, but tell me real quick about the Baha'i faith. I say, look, if you're ever on Jeopardy and Alex Trebek has some kind of clue about the Baha'i faith, you ring that buzzer, and the answer is unity. The answer is always unity. Whatever you can imagine becoming unified on this planet, Baha'is are in favor of. Unity. Because unity is what God willed for his creation. He did not create us to be separate, to hate each other, and God forbid he did not create us for war. He created us for peace. He created us that every man and woman and baby would be happy and fulfilled through eternity, through infinity. Ben Casey had a good teacher in Dr. Zorba, and you folks have been really wonderful tonight. I was really pretty impressed with some of the stuff you had to say. Some of it was remarkably interesting. Some of it was remarkable. I really liked the expiration date. I thought that was excellent. Excellent. I'll use that. And I hope that you got an idea that these deep subjects are very simple. In Baha'is writings, there is a wonderful, wonderful quotation where Baha'u'llah says, my first counsel is this. Now imagine what his first counsel would be. My first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart. It means be nice to each other, love each other, take care of each other, and let us all together move forward and create the kingdom that God would have us create. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.